Overall, the 2011 Royal Rumble show was a pretty good show. I liked it. Um, the show kicked off with the World Heavyweight Championship match between Edge and Dolph Ziggler. Um, Overall, this was a really good match. Both guys really delivered, and you could already tell that Dolph Ziggler, this wasn't going to be Dolph Ziggler's last World Championship match, as you might be sure that he might have more in the future. I mean, Dolph really delivered, Edge really delivered. Overall, really good match. Then there was the WWE Championship match between The Miz and Randy Orton. Overall, it was okay, but I wasn't really too crazy about how The Miz won, as it made him seem like a weak champion, much like JBL, who keep winning his championship matches through shortcuts and cheating. In this case, The Miz retained his WWE Championship match thanks to the interference of Alex Riley, The Nexus, and CM Punk. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of The Miz. I love The Miz's work, but his reign as WWE champion wasn't really that credible, if you ask me. But anyway, that's what happened. Then there was the fatal four-way Divas match between Natalya, Layla, Michelle McCool, and Eve. It was Eve that walked out the new champion in the end, and this match seemed a little. It was pretty much your standard Divas match. Now, when Michael Cole, giving the announcement for the Raw GM, announced that there was going to be a fatal four-way match, of course we all know the first three being Layla, McCool, and Natalya. They didn't know who the fourth one was going to be. There was a lot of talk about Awesome Kong making her debut at that event, but of course it turned out to be Eve. Not only was she the mystery opponent, but she walked out the new champion. Overall, just your standard Divas match and nothing more. Now comes the main event, the 2011 Royal Rumble match. This time, what was unique about this Royal Rumble was that there was going to be 40 wrestlers in this one instead of the usual 30, which kind of added to the intrigue and thus made the match a little bit longer. The first three to kick it off was CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, which is definitely an independent wrestling fan's dream, and definitely a great way to kick off the match. Daniel Bryan went on to have like 20 minutes, I think, and CM Punk went on to have like 40, maybe 46, 50 minutes. Anyway, both guys did a tremendous showing, and I kind of find the irony that these guys would start off the 2011 Royal Rumble show as competitors, and now they're going into the Royal Rumble match, the Royal Rumble show this year as world champions. Think about that. There were a lot of surprises here. First, the return of Booker T, which definitely was a mark-out moment. And of course, I believe it was Matt Striker that said that. No, this is a mark-out moment. I'm marking out, bro. It was definitely a highlight for match. Too bad Matt Striker doesn't do commentary for pay-per-views anymore, because I really enjoyed it myself. And of course, who can forget the return of Diesel? That Diesel engine coming in the background, the fans roughing up. Definitely the biggest ovation of the night. Kevin Nash coming in as Diesel apparel with his Kevin Nash. In fact, I remember watching this with buddies of mine that year, and one of my buddies saying, if Kevin Nash comes in as Diesel, I'm going to mark out. Thus, we saw Kevin Nash as Diesel. Let the marking begin. And we let the marking out begin. Overall, this was a pretty good matchup. I definitely saw Del Rio winning this one. He was definitely one of my picks to win, but I never expected him to eliminate Santino Marella as the winner. Definitely a surprise. Santino Marella actually being one of the last two in the Rumble match, and actually giving the illusion that Santino was going to win. Wow. But anyway, Alberto Del Rio wins and would go on to WrestleMania, and I guess you can call the rest history. I don't know. I'll leave that up to you. Anyway, overall, the 2011 Royal Rumble show was pretty good. I would recommend seeing it just for the Royal Rumble event itself, just for the uniqueness of the 40-man Royal Rumble, thus, and also the returns of Booker T and Kevin Nash, and also to see CM Punk and Daniel Bryan kicking things off. Well, that'll do it for the Royal Rumble reviews. I hope you guys enjoyed them as much as I did doing them. And now, before I sign off, I would like to give my thoughts on this year's Royal Rumble event and give my predictions. First off, I'll start off with the Triple Threat World Heavyweight Championship cage match between Mark Henry, The Big Show, and World Champion Daniel Bryan. For the first time in WWE history, the World Heavyweight Championship will be defended in a cage match in a triple threat fashion at the Royal Rumble. As for my thoughts, I'm seeing Daniel Bryan winning this one via escape of the cage, because that's one of the rules you can win the match, and it seems as though Daniel Bryan has been one of those heel weasel champions who gets easy wins, much like Miz and JBL. Yeah, I see Mark Henry and Big Show like getting knocked out or knocking each other out somehow, and then Daniel Bryan taking advantage, escaping the cage, and winning the match. Then we have the John Cena-Kane matchup. This match could go either way, but I see a non-finish here. I'm pretty sure they want to push this a little bit longer. Not very much so right before WrestleMania, because I'm pretty sure they want to save as much time as possible for Rock and Cena at WrestleMania. So I see a non-finish and maybe another matchup at the next pay-per-view, that being Elimination Chamber, and thus ending the Cena-Kane feud. Then we have the WWE Championship match between CM Punk and Dolph Ziggler, with John Laurinaitis being the referee. Wow. Of course, Laurinaitis' intentions is to screw CM Punk out of the WWE Championship. But I'm pretty sure that CM Punk, they don't want to lose CM Punk as the WWE Champion, so here's what I'm thinking. The match happens, and of course, Laurinaitis tries his best to screw Punk. And during the match, we might see an interference from Vicky Guerrero or Jack Swagger, what have you, and CM Punk trying to fight the odds, but the odds not working well for him, and then here comes Mick Foley. And if you remember, Laurinaitis was the one that knocked out Mick Foley with a microphone during his tirade a couple weeks ago. So Mick Foley comes in, he somehow knocks out Laurinaitis with Mr. Sacco, and then CM Punk gets in the GTS on Ziggler. Punk grabs Laurinaitis' weak hand for the 1, 2, 3. CM Punk is still the champion. And now we move on to the 30-man Royal Rumble main event, or I think it's going to be the main event. There's a lot of talk on who's going to be winning this one. Some saying Wade Barrett, Sheamus, Jericho, possibly even Miz. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities. Me personally, I think either Jericho or Wade Barrett was going to win this one. I think maybe I might leaning more towards Jericho. I know before I was kind of leaning more towards Wade Barrett. I mean, it's kind of up in the air because Wade Barrett has had a pretty good couple of months these past recently, and Jericho made a splashing return a few weeks ago at the first episode of Raw back a couple weeks ago. And Jericho saying that the world is going to end as we know it this past Monday. And so I'm saying either Wade Barrett or Jericho are my picks to win this one. Here's Royal Rumble, and I'm hoping it'll be a good show. Well, that'll do it here. Thank you guys for watching. Feel free to leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, and you can follow me on Twitter at JJMWWE89. And until we meet again, thank you for watching. Take care, y'all.